What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to go into the charts and we're going to just analyze some BC30 setups, go over some success that myself and some traders have had, and how you can also find the same success by implementing this strategy and executing it the right way. Let's get into the charts, guys. All right, guys. So first we're going to focus on a good win that we caught today with our BC30 setup with NAS 100, okay? So let's take a look at the chart first. So as I typically say with BC30, you want to start with top-down analysis, all right? You usually, for most strategies, you're gonna start with some kind of top-down analysis, right? You're gonna start with your higher time frames. Some will do the weekly, I'll do the daily, okay? I'm gonna start with a higher time frame. I wanna make sure areas of support and resistance, right, are marked off, and I drag those areas across. Why? Because they tend to be relevant in terms of recent price. So as I mark off those areas of support and resistance, I want to do the same thing as I go down per time frame. Okay, so I did that for the daily. I also do that for the 4 hour. I also do that for the 1 hour. And then I also will do that for the 30-minute if necessary as well. Okay, now that brings you all to one place. It brings you eventually to the 30-minute time frame where we want to start executing these trades, these BC30 trades. And ultimately what we want to be able to do is get ourselves from not only analyzing the obvious areas of support and resistance, but also the not so obvious areas of support and resistance, right? Meaning the obvious areas are going to be areas you could see on the higher time frame, like such as this area over here, such as this area over here with the couple of touches here on the top for the area of resistance. But the not so obvious areas that take some zooming in, that take some, some eye work on the charts, is going to be this area right over here, right, where price had a slight struggle on this time frame to break through. Okay, so these are areas that we're going to see, as well as this area over here, this area of resistance over here. These are areas we're looking for because these are our execution areas where we're going to take those small spurts or those little momentum movements and capitalize on them and profit on them each and every day. Okay, so in this particular trade right over here, what we're looking at is we had a small area of resistance. I call it small because it's not significant, it's not easily visible, right? But if you're on a 30-minute time frame or even drop down to a 15-minute time frame, it will be very obvious. If you're taking a look here, we see that price had multiple wicks in this area, right? There was a lot of struggle to get beyond this area, right? So as a result, this area becomes a small area of resistance for price. And the whole point is I want to box price in, right? I want to box price in because I need to know when it comes out of that box, because in order for it to come out of that box, it needed some kind of momentum, right? It needs some kind of energy to come out of that box. So as we're looking at the market move, one of the things that I like to do is I like to set alerts on top of the area of resistance and below an area of support. Wait for the market to break through and hit my alert, and the market usually hits my alert when the candle is breaking. Now, very important, just because a candle hits my alert, for example, this candle over here was my breaking candle. Now, it's going to hit my alert, but very important, just because a candle hits my alert doesn't necessarily mean it's time to enter my trade. There are other criteria that have to fall into place in order for me to take that trade, in order for me to make sure that this is a A+ setup and I'm confident in this setup, right? That's where a lot of traders fail. Traders tend to end up just jumping into the market once the market starts to move, and that's the wrong thing to do. You need some level of confirmation because there are many times the market moves and then moves the other way, right? What confirmation do you have that the move that it's currently making is going to be sustainable to any degree? You need to answer that question, and that question is answered through confirmations, right? So our next confirmation, what we're looking for is for the next candle. So there's the candle after the breaking candle, the candle after this candle highlighted, for the next candle to start pushing beyond the breaking candle, okay? So not only we want the breaking candle to close above the area of resistance, in this case for the buy, right? So you see how the breaking candle closed above the area of resistance, okay? We also want that when we say the candle closes above the area of resistance, we like to see the body of the candle close above that area, not just a wick. Okay, very important. Many times it's just a wick that comes up and comes back down. For instance, like over here, this would not be considered a breaking candle to me. Okay, to me in my strategy, that's not a breaking candle, although the wick came above the area of resistance. To me, a breaking candle is when not only a wick, but also a body comes above that area of resistance and closes there. Okay, now once that is established and you have your breaking candle, like I said again, we're going to make sure that the next candle is pushing beyond the breaking candle as such, beyond the body of the breaking candle as such. Okay, and we enter that trade, and that's what we did. We entered this trade, and there's a third component here that is not explicitly in the strategy, but it's more implicit in terms of being a trader and having some kind of experience. Patience. If you count these candles, what you'll realize is this trade, in order to materialize and get to my TP, it took a couple of hours to get there. That patience is very, very necessary. Now, there's a couple of things when we talk about patience that's very important. It's not just waiting in general for every trade to hit your TP, but it's understanding the difference between a trade that I should be cutting short or a trade that is not invalidated that I should continue to let run because there's no actual big red flags that tell me that this trade is no longer valid, right? So what happened in this trade is that although it was taking some time relative to what I'm used to in terms of trades that I'm usually in, there was at no point that I felt like this trade was all of a sudden invalid. There was no big momentum push to the downside. There was no change of structure of the trade necessarily. All the trade was doing was just continuing to gather some kind of momentum to be able to continue to go up to the upside. And eventually it got to that TP. And here's the other thing, whether this trade would have won or lost, as long as I don't see a reason to come out of that trade, there's no reason to come out of that trade. It's all right to be patient with the trade. Now, certain factors that may fall into place where you have to consider, maybe I should get out, is if you're changing sessions, right? If you're going from one session going to another session, that may dramatically shift things. If a news event is about to drop, right, you need to consider that because now price can go in the complete opposite direction. So there are a couple things you should consider while waiting for certain trades. But as long as those things aren't deal breakers based on your strategy, then it's okay to wait for this trade, okay? But as you can see, BC30 continues to work. I've been showing you video after video after video, different pairs, whether it's gold, whether it's NASDAQ, whether it's another pair, BC30 works across the board and it continues to work. So now when you go and you win this trade, what happens is you realize price all of a sudden finds another area of resistance, right? Price, multiple candles at this area cannot break past this level, okay? Cannot break past and close above this level. Not until we get to this candle over here, and lo and behold, we have another potential BC30 setup, okay? Now we have our breaking candle right over here, and the next candle does not push beyond that breaking candle, but this one does, and that one would be our entry candle. So we would enter here on this candle as it's pushing beyond our breaking candle, and we would ride that to the upside with a decent stop loss, and that would also be another winning trade. Rinse and repeat, not complicated. You understand where you are in the market. You understand that momentum is on your side. It's an easy trade to take, and it's a trade that you profit on. It's a trade that all my traders tend to profit on. So this is not the hardest thing to apply, right? Now, there are nuances in every strategy. There are nuances in terms of experience and things that you need to watch out for in the market. Reasons why I wouldn't take what may look like A+ setup just because there are other factors involved, which in a way takes away from it being an A+ setup. But at its core, this is not a very difficult thing to be able to pick up and to apply and to execute flawlessly. It has allowed myself and my traders to profit hundreds of thousands of dollars in the market just this past year alone. And I know it could definitely help you profit as well. So that was a great win we had on NAS. We expect more wins throughout the week, and hopefully you can start winning as well by implementing BC30. All right, guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I really, really appreciate it. And until next time, guys, peace.